Hi, and welcome to another video by Jim the Car Guy. Today we're going to be changing the struts, and we're going to change the entire strut assembly, the strut, the plate, and the spring. And I'm going to show you why we're going to do that, because in this particular case it doesn't pay just to change the strut because the plate is actually no good. And as you can see, it is an older vehicle. It's a Mercury. I think it's a 95 or 96, something like that. But all the cars changing the struts are basically the same procedure. So let me just show you one thing you want to check before you change just the strut. You want to make sure you check the bearing plates too. I got them off, one of them off the car already, so I'm going to show you what that looks like. This is the one from the driver's side. I'm going to do the passenger side next and show you how to do that. But as you can see, the bearing plate itself is actually starting to break. So we're going to do what they call a complete strut assembly. It comes with the spring, the plate, and the new strut. As you can see, that is still the original strut there. So this is the replacement. So let's get over on the passenger side, and I'm going to show you how to do this step by step. It's fairly easy procedure. All right, let's get over there. I'll show you what to do. Okay, now obviously this is the wheel is off the car already, as you can see. But basically all we need to do is to remove these two bolts right here. The two bolts that go through the knuckle itself and through the strut. We're going to hold this side over here, and we're going to air gun this side off right over here. If you don't have an air gun, no big deal. You can do it with a ratchet, not a problem. We're going to remove this brake line right here from the caliper. You just put a pair of pliers on here, and we pull this right off, and we just move the line off to the side to relocate it. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to come up on the top up here. I know it's a little bit dark. Let's get a light up there for you. This is the top of the strut. We are definitely never going to take that bolt out right there. What we're going to do is we're going to take off this one, this one, this one, and this one, and then we'll be able to lower the strut down out of the vehicle, and we'll be able to pull it out through this wheel well right over here. So, all right, let me get some air guns, and let's get started, and we should wrap this up in about 15 minutes. So let me get some tools, and let's get started. Alright, now like I said, if you don't have an air gun, it's no big deal. You can do this with a ratchet, but I do have an air gun, so I'm going to do it the easiest way for me. Alright, remember what I said, hold the bolt in the back right here with a wrench, and you can shoot the bolt or take the nut off. We're going to do the same thing on the top up here. And we're going to leave the bolts in the knuckle right now. We're not going to remove these. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go up to the top of the car, and we're going to air gun off the nuts up on top of the car. Alright, that, as you can see, is the top of the bearing plate. What we're going to do is we're going to take off, we're going to loosen all of them and take them off, and we're going to leave one. We're going to leave one still on there. Now, like I said, if you don't have an air gun, it's not a big deal. You can just take it off by hand, and it's the same thing. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're not going to take this last one out totally. We're just going to loosen it. And now we're going to go back underneath the car, and we're going to continue down underneath the bottom over here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take that clip off that I told you about. Right, you can do it any way you can. I usually get in here with a pair of vice grips. Just grab it, and you just slide it back and forth, and the clip comes right off. Don't lose it. You're going to need to put this back on later on. So we're just going to take this line and relocate it off to the side for now. And now we can take out the two bolts on here. We're going to take the bottom one out first. And we'll take the top one out. Now, what you want to do is you want to be careful because you don't want to, let me show you. You don't want to pull the, you do not want to pull this axle out too far because you can damage the tripod right here or the inner tripod that's actually inside there. You don't want to take a chance on damaging it, so be careful not to pull the knuckle back too far to cause a problem with the axle. Okay, what we're going to do is just rock it slowly, and you can take it like this. And now while you hold this up, you can take that bolt off up on top that we previously loosened, but we didn't remove. And then we just pull this down. And being careful you don't pull this tripod out. And that's it, we got the strut out. As you can see, it's the exact same problem on this one. It's starting to crack right along the top right there also. That's why we're changing this one too. So let me grab the new one and we'll put it back together. Now you have new nuts that they gave you for the top of the bearing plate. Make sure you use the new ones, because these are actually self-locking nuts. They'll lock it in place. All right, so we're going to put the strut back in place here. I'm going to lift it back through the car itself. And now while we hold it up, we're just going to catch one nut up on the top. Then we're going to put the strut back together with the bolts. Good pair of bolts. What we're going to need to do is pry down on the control arm just a little bit so we can get the bolts back in. Now we're going to hold this knuckle in, and we're going to pry down just a little bit to get it to line up. Just going to push down. Get the bolts to line up. Now we have the bolts coming through. We're just going to tap them a little bit. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to tighten up the bolts on the bottom knuckle right here. Hold it with the wrench. Okay, nice and tight. Next thing we're going to do now is we're going to reinstall that clip that we previously took off. So just put the brake line through. Put this clip on, like that. And then just tap it in place. That's it, and that's all set. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to go up on top, and we're going to tighten up the bolts up on top. So let me get up there and I'll show you how to tighten them up. Okay, now that we have the bolts on the bottom tight and our clip is locked back in place, we're going to put the new nuts up on top of the bearing plate, and we're going to tighten them down. Okay, we just catch them by hand, obviously, And once they're caught, we're going to shoot them on with the air gun. I'm not going to go as tight as I normally do with an air gun because with these I like to feel how tight they are. So let me get the air gun and we're going to shoot them down, and then we're going to check it with a wrench. I mean the ratchet, I'm sorry. Alright, so we shoot these down. And the reason I do this with a checking it by hand is because I don't want to take a chance on snapping it off by tightening it up too tight. So we just put our ratchet on here, okay, and we tighten it down. So to recap, we make sure all of our bolts on top are tight. We never, ever, ever remove that bolt right there because you'll have a big problem if you do. You want to make sure that your bolts are tight here on the struts. You could tighten them on by hand, or you can air gun them on. If you want, you can look it up for torque specs too. I'm not gonna. And we made sure we clipped on the brake line back in place, and that's it. We're all set. As you know, the other side is done already, so we're going to put the wheel back on, take it out to get the alignment reset, and that's it. We're going to wrap it up and out the door. All right, as always, thanks for watching. Questions or comments, you drop me a line. Be more than happy to talk to you about anything. As always, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.